So you've got a $127 billion budget. You guys, that type of budget is larger than the entire state of Florida. And yet you're running a single city and you are $5.4 million in the hole. So your solution is not, let's look at this budget to see what we can cut. It's, we're $5.4 billion in the hole. We should tax the millionaires. And since the governor of the state is saying, yeah, that's not going to work because I'm trying to get reelected, you then threaten a 9.5 property tax hike. Now that's not for the millionaires. That's like the regular people who worked hard to own and live in a home. And all the while, you're spending millions on racial equity offices. And then, to top it all off, you're asking citizens to volunteer for a nominal fee, of course, maybe a little $19 an hour. You want them to shovel snow in New York City, where it snows every single year. But here's the kicker. You need an ID to sign up to shovel this snow, and more than one piece of ID. I promise y'all, Democrats, they will swear that voter ID is oppressive. Yet, to shovel some snow, it's okay. Y'all, make it make sense. Coming up next on Unshakable with April Chapman. Let's get into this. Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, April Chapman, and welcome to today's show. Y'all, we have got to talk about this $127 billion socialist experiment called New York City's budget. So that's the number. Let's start there. We have $127 billion is what their budget proposal is. Now, for context, that size of a budget is larger than the entire budget of the state of Florida. So you have a single city spending more than a state with over 22 million people, and they are still running in a deficit. I've been telling you guys, Democrats don't know how to lead. They don't know how to govern. We're literally looking at a fiscal chaotic nightmare, and it's being led by the guy who likes to smile and put on a good PR stunt. So, Democrats and socialists. Actually, Democrats and socialists are the same at this point. I told y'all they don't know how to govern, but they do. They know how to spin. They know how to threaten and be tyrannical. They know how to give a fake moral superiority. But when it comes to balancing a budget, you're going to get crickets and confiscation, because at this point, they're going to start snatching up property left and right, because you're going to have individuals who won't be able to pay these property taxes if it gets approved. And then this is where people start losing their homes. So the first thing we need to do is I went and I pulled some line items. And I said, let's look at this budget to see, okay, I'm not an economist. I've never run a city as a mayor, but I can look at a budget and say, where are some areas that we can cut? So here are some areas within their budget that deserve some scrutiny. You have $5.6 million for the Office of Racial Equity. I said, wow, $5.6 million for the Office of Racial Equity? Then there's $4.6 million for the Commission on Race Equity. Then there's $4.6 million for the Commission on Racial Equity. I'm like, well, shoot, we almost had $9 million right there. Then you have $835,000 for the Commission on Gender. I'm like, Okay, well, now I can see where a huge chunk of this budget is being spent on unnecessary things. You also have $1.2 million for migrant services and over $500,000 to shrink class sizes. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. There's also $30 million that has been cut from libraries, and billions have dipped from the city's reserves. Here is what you will notice: they always manage to find money for ideology. There's always money for commissions and committees and studies and things like that. They will find the money for social engineering, but when it comes to something simple as, I don't know, sanitation or snow removal, they're asking civilians if you could volunteer, and the most that we can pay you is $19 an hour. You cannot tell me that this is about revenue. This is about Democrat priorities and their inability to prioritize the appropriate things. So, let me introduce you guys to one of the reasons why New York City, in my opinion, is in a deficit. They literally spend money on stupid stuff. So, one of the crown jewels of this $127 billion budget masterpiece is this Office of Equity and Racial Justice. I'm not joking. This is not a parody. This is not satire. This is real. In 2022, the voters of New York City, the same brain dead morons that voted for Zohran Mamdani, voted to approve a charter amendment to form a mayor's office of equity and racial justice. And you guys, this is a citywide racial equity planning mandate, and it consists of a 15-member commission on racial equity, and they have a biannual racial equity plan across every agency. So while the city is drowning in $5.4 billion in the hole, we've got committees out here studying feelings. And so, what do they actually do? What does this committee and this Office of Racial Equity, what is its job? Like, what is its function? Well, according to the city's own language, this is what the office exists to do. They dismantle explicit and implicit bias. I don't know why we need money to dismantle explicit and implicit bias, but whatever. As if you can regulate the hearts and minds of other people. They promote intersectional equity. So basically, that's called intersectional equity is code for the blacks and the browns and the gays and all of the different intersectional, the women, all the boxes that you check. This department seeks to promote intersectional equity. They want to make sure everybody got a seat at the table. They also analyze disparities, they track equity gaps, and they implement citywide racial equity frameworks. You guys, all of this translates to mean more bureaucracy, more consultants, because you got to hire more people to do all this, more data dashboards, more meetings, another task force, more reports, more data, but less snow plowing. I'm sorry. This is what ideological this is I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is what ideology looks like in a budget. Okay? Hear me clearly. I live in a red state. Okay? And I've seen what a red state run well looks like. Red states, we don't have, and I'm not saying this one doesn't because it's kind of purple now, but we don't focus on things like that. We focus on infrastructure and public safety and what is going to generate some economic growth. We focus on the business climate. Are we friendly to businesses? Can we attract industries? What about energy? What about law enforcement, border enforcement? Are the roads well maintained? Are we doing anything to improve the schools? Blue cities, on the other hand, they create equity commissions. They don't fix potholes. They don't care about your car or your struts on your vehicle. They measure the racial equity of the potholes to make sure that the people filling the potholes are of the right skin color or sexual persuasion, but they don't plow snow. They're not equipped to do that. They will examine the intersectional impact of how the snow falls and impacts Black people over the white people, but they don't improve merit. Okay? Now, they may even obsess over the equitable outcomes. But here is the problem, you guys. Equity is not equality. And anytime you try to make equity equality, all you're going to do is try to engineer outcomes that are never fair for everybody. This is why merit matters. Merit says earn it. Equity says redistribute it. Redistribute it. Merit says, hey, I want to earn it. Equity says, can you take from them over there and give it to them over there? They redistribute it. Merit says, hey, I'm ready to compete. Equity says, we need to recalibrate this because these scales are not right, even though these people over here operated in excellence and had good ideas and were able to attain it based on competing. No. Equity does nothing more than build participation trophies. So basically, Zohran Mamdani, the ink is barely dry on his business cards coming off the hot press of the printer. And he's already out here making folks angry. He has done a press conference and he has let his constituents know that, listen, the budget is short. We ain't got it. We ain't got it now, and we ain't gonna never get it unless Kathy and the homies up in Albany raise the taxes on the rich and bail us out. Because I'm a socialist and I don't know anything about balancing a budget or cutting spending. All I know how to do is redistribute money and steal from others to give to other people. That's what I specialize in. And so when he says that if Albany doesn't bail us out and raise the taxes on the rich, then I am forced. He says we are left with no other choice than to raise property taxes. Take a listen to it right here.
At the heart of this path is a property tax increase. This would effectively be a tax on working and middle-class New Yorkers who have a median income of $122,000. The second path also requires us to raid our reserves. It would mean withdrawing $980 million from our city's rainy day fund in fiscal year 2026 and $229 million from the Retiree Health Benefit Trust in fiscal year 2027. These are steps that have been taken before, but only in moments of extraordinary external crisis. Mayor Bloomberg's response to the 2008 financial collapse and Mayor de Blasio's response to the enormous revenue shortfall caused by the pandemic. We do not want to have to turn to such drastic measures to balance our budget.
So y'all heard Zohran Mamdani. And this little announcement has not gone over well with New Yorkers. And so what I want you to take a look at this press conference. We're going to watch this one together. I want you to listen to this news clip and you're going to hear from constituents express their disapproval. And then I'm going to explain to you guys why they are getting exactly what they asked for, but they're playing dumb like they don't understand how this happened. Take a listen.
Decades of work is on the line right now. Homeowners in Queens are concerned about being forced out of their homes. The group says if Mayor Mamdani's 9.5% property tax proposal actually happens, they may be forced to sell. Fox 5's Kendall Green has this story.
We are not having it.
Oh, but you are. No, you are having it. You're having it because he was elected. This is the mayor that you chose. I can guarantee y'all, most of these people out here at this press conference, not only did they vote for him, but they probably campaigned for him. And you guys, I don't understand why they're surprised. Zohran Mamdani has never hid that he is an absolute communist, socialist, Marxist. He told you what he was going to do. Y'all voted for him because y'all wanted the free stuff. And now you're realizing we tried to tell you. I can't tell you how many of us made content saying y'all making a mistake. Don't vote for this. This ain't what you want. Free ain't free. And now they're like, oh, we're not having this. But you are. Yeah, you are.
Owners in Mayor Zohran Mamdani's own backyard in Southeast Queens, not holding back just days after the mayor shared his $127 billion city budget proposal.
Not even 3 months into your administration, into your term, you want to hit us with a 9.5% interest property tax increase.
Those attending the Hands Off Our Homes rally consider the proposal a complete 180 from the platform that cleared Mamdani's path to City Hall.
No, this is not a complete 180 from the path that cleared his way to City Hall. He's a socialist. He doesn't even believe in private property rights. Like, he envies the fact that you, the melanated folks out here, own property. He doesn't care about that. He's got to come up with the money to give the free stuff. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that you are a proud homeowner and you're upset that your taxes are going to go up, and as a result, you're going to lose your generational wealth. And then in the same breath, vote for a socialist. Your worldviews don't even align. So you're protesting. It really is, it's falling on deaf ears, because I can guarantee you most of those people, they supported him and voted him in office.
Use them. However, responsibly, I cannot tell New Yorkers that that is the likelihood over these next few months.
A hike likened to an express lane to gentrification for long-standing black and brown families in Cambria Heights, Queens.
They saved, they worked overtime so they can purchase their homes and build equity. So yes, you want to freeze rents on one set of families, but then you want to increase property taxes on another set of families. It doesn't work that way.
It does work that way. Did you really think him freezing rent? Do you not understand how that was going to prevent the budget from not having the revenue that it needed to function? He has to get the money from somewhere. What made you think that you were safe or exempt from this? This is theater to me at this point. It's theater. Because I'm like, y'all voted for this. We told you this was going to happen. The math never made sense. The math was never mathing.
He says Governor Hochul and officials in Albany could bail the city out, on top of the $1.5 billion in funding announced earlier this week. While the governor shares the hike could threaten whether New Yorkers remain New Yorkers.
I'm not wavering from my position that I don't want to drive more people out of our state by increasing taxes from what is already a high tax state. I'm the one who's trying to cut taxes.
The mayor's current proposal, though, would need city council approval, which so far appears unlikely.
To be clear, that is not on the table for us. So we have taken that off the table.
As residents fear being priced out of their homes, already overwhelmed with the taxes they already pay.
The taxes that we pay for that you're now trying to get more of, you want to make us do what? We're tired. We're working ourselves to bones here. We don't have it.
Now, though we're months away from the finalized budget deadline in June, organizers made it crystal clear where they stand even before negotiations with City Council. In Cambria Heights, Queens, Kendall Green, Fox 5 News.
Jackie.
Listen, it's sad to watch this play out, but we predicted that this is the way it was going to go down. One of the individuals in that press conference talked about how Zohran Mamdani wanted to freeze rents on one group, but then raise taxes on another group And that is always how it works. And she's saying that these people, this is their generational wealth. And now many of them may have to walk away or lose their homes or sell their homes because they won't be able to afford the taxes. And if that happens, that means people are going to flee New York. And I'm telling you, don't come down here. Because what ends up happening is all y'all sell those houses, your little $750,000 houses, $1 million houses up in New York. You sell your property, then you come down here and you bring your same leftist, liberal, just retardation. You bring it here, and you've been turning this state blue ever since you got here. And we don't want Georgia to be a little New York. We don't want that. What you need to do is understand the way economics works, and you shouldn't have fallen for the okie doke when this man told you exactly who he was. He's a socialist. He doesn't know how to generate revenue. He doesn't know how to attract industry. He's a thief. They steal from one group to give to the other, and it don't feel good when that group is you. Now, does it? Now, here's the deal. The reason why, or what I would say contributes to this deficit, is the fact that massive amounts of money was spent on migrants. You cannot have massive migrant spending, whole equity and gender offices and commissions, expand bureaucracy, bloat your payroll, and then have all of this ideological programming, and then be shocked when you are $5.4 million short. It's not like it's a mystery. It's called math. This is what happens when government is treated like a therapy session. The absurdity of all of this is what makes this so sad. Is because after all of this, after spending millions on all of these racial frameworks, the mayor is asking civilians to care for their own communities by signing up to shovel snow. Y'all, I'm from New York. It snows in New York. If there's one thing you know that's going to happen, it's going to snow in New York City. Snow is guaranteed. And the hypocrisy of all of this is overwhelming, because in order to sign up to shovel the snow, you need not one form of ID, but two of which must be a photo identification. So I'm like, how is it now that photo ID and identification matters and it's a requirement? So documentation is necessary, and asking someone to verify who they are is a reasonable request, but voter ID is somehow racist. This is why people are leaving these cities. It is not because they hate diversity. It's because they hate stupid people and incompetence. That's what this is about. The bigger issue here is that this is not just about one mayor. New York City is the test case. This is the social experiment. But this is about the worldview that too many Americans are adopting. And it's highlighting that Democrats and socialists don't know how to govern, but y'all keep voting for them. They know how to spend your money. They know how to weaponize compassion. But because governing requires wisdom and discipline and prioritization and restraint and accountability, none of those traits are present in this budget because it's not reflective of the people who came up with the budget. And so you can't have a thriving city by funding ideologies all the while begging citizens to shovel snow. You can't do that. First of all, New York City is already full of piles of snow and piles of boo-boo, like people defecating in the street, and the homelessness is the problem. You had some homeless people lose their lives because he didn't want to get them off the street. Like all of this moral superiority that the Democrats are always claiming, but yet in the same breath, they're out here threatening homeowners by raising their taxes and wanting to preach equity while ignoring people's economic reality. New York City doesn't need another commission. It needs common sense. It needs someone to make hard decisions and say, we can't take care of everybody. We can't just open up the floodgates and say, everybody's welcome, come on in. We can't pay for your universal child care. There will be no such thing as free buses. We can't do that. And everybody can't be on Medicaid. The city's job is not to take care of your ever waking need. It's to make sure that them trains run and show up on time. Socialism is not when the government doesn't help you in a socialistic sense. It's never helped. Socialism is when the government grows so large that it replaces responsibility with more dependence and wealth redistribution. And that is not a sustainable system of economics. And until people realize that, they're going to continue to vote for people like this, and their cities are going to go to hell in a handbasket. That's what's going to happen. So I'm curious to know from you guys, what do you think? I don't know, because this idea of we're going to take from the rich and give it to you, not realizing that the rich are not just going to let you come and take what they have worked for. And if they're smart, typically what happens is the rich jump ship. They're like, over my dead body before I think you're not going to tax me into oblivion. I'll just leave and take all of my jobs and my wealth with me. So in addition to the government theft, you get useless line items like all of these commissions and departments on equity, the things that they're focusing on, the identity politics. They don't know how to cut spending. They don't know how to reduce the waste. They just rename it. And when the math doesn't math and the numbers don't add up, all they know is tax the rich. And when that doesn't work, they tax you. And so people are angry, as they rightfully should be. And the ultimatum that Zohran Mamdani gave was Albany needs to approve a millionaire tax. And if not, I have to tax the everyday homeowner. And it's going to be a 9.5% tax hike. That's wild. You're going to have homeowners and landlords and small business owners. And when that tax hike goes into effect, now, as of now, City Council is saying that is not on the horizon. We're not going to approve that. But let's just say if it were possible, what's going to happen is that those landlords and small business owners, as a result of their personal property taxes or even commercial property taxes going up, they're going to raise rent, or small businesses are going to close, and the middle class is going to leave. And then they'll say, see, capitalism has failed. And I'm like, no, your math failed. Your math failed. Your ideology failed. Your priorities failed. Yes, you have equity and black and brown and gay people represented everywhere, but everybody's broken. Don't nobody have any money. So listen, I just thought it was interesting. It's a twofold irony here. The snow and the voter ID, and the fact that they can't balance this budget and they have a shortfall because the city is constantly borrowing. They want to dip into the reserves. They want to raise taxes. And now they want to enslave their own citizens through economic pressure. And it is fiscal bondage. And if you don't wake up and stop voting for policies like this, this is going to rinse and repeat in other cities across the country. And I don't want to hear anybody say, we didn't know because we told you so. But I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think, as of now, City Council is saying is that raising property taxes is not in their purview? So Zohran is stuck. Either Albany bails him out, or he's going to raise the property taxes. And if he raises the property taxes, that is going to be a snowball effect, and it's going to impact small businesses. It's going to impact rent. And the very thing he ran on, which was affordability and affordable housing, all that's going to go out the window. And unfortunately, New Yorkers are going to be the one who suffer. But they may not be able to handle the snow and the budget shortfall, but they know how to put together a diversity and equity commission and gender commission. This is the stuff that they prioritize. But leave me your thoughts down in the comments box below. And until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.